Well, game two was all about the celebration for the Cavs. Game three in front of a raucous Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse crowd did not go anticipated. The Boston Celtics, I don't want to say dominated this game, but never had to break a sweat. And they end up beating the Cavs by about 15. There's like 10 seconds left in the game. That just went final. It's a 13-point end result, 106-93 for the Celtics. And with that, Boston takes a 2-1 series lead. We're going to break down how it happened, what went wrong, and who needs to step up more for the Cavs in game four. Coming up right now on the Ultimate Cavaliers Show. What's up, guys? Mikey McNuggets here. A 106-93 loss tonight for the Cleveland Cavaliers, making the series 2-1 in favor of the Boston Celtics. After game two, you felt all the momentum kind of picking up on Cleveland's side. They win by 24 points, the largest margin of victory ever for a double-digit underdog entering the game. They have game three at home in front of the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse crowd, which was absolutely electric. And the Cavs came out and they battled in the first half. But a lot of the little things they did well in game two, they failed to do well in game three. Boston, on the other hand, and give Boston credit, they're a really, really, really talented team. They obviously had the best record in basketball. They made a couple tweaks that worked out and helped them capture this win. So it wasn't the Cavs played terrible. Part of it is Boston played well, but big picture for the Cavs, big picture, is Donovan Mitchell stepped up, played another terrific game. Evan Mobley was solid. And outside of those two, and if you even want to say Mobley doesn't live up to what you expected, the reality is on the offensive end of the court, outside of Donovan Mitchell, the Cavs did not get nearly enough from everybody else as a collection. Mobley, whatever. He had, what he finished with 17 points, I think was his final tally. He had, 17 points, 7-11 shooting. We could argue either way. But Darius Garland, Caris, Levert, Max Strus, all the ancillary pieces, the shot creators, Isaac Okoro, Dean Wade even. Hey, you're back, Dean. It was great to see you back in the lineup. Hit a 30 seconds in and then kind of disappeared for a while. The Cavs' other playmakers have to step up. Donovan Mitchell was spectacular again tonight. He finished the game with 33 points, 7 of 12 from 3, 12 of 22 from the floor. He had 3 assists. But outside of him, the other Cavs playmakers were MIA. Darius Garland's final stat line, 15.6 assists. He was 6 of 15 from the floor, 1 of 6 from 3. That actually looks a lot better than it felt in reality. He had 6 points at the halftime break. He had a quick 3 to start the fourth quarter. But when the Cavs needed him most, in the minutes when he was on the court, leading the offense without Donovan Mitchell, the Boston Celtics continued to build upon their lead. Darius had a great third quarter in game two. Tonight, there was never that stretch where he kind of took over and really put his fingerprints over this ball game like the Cavs needed him to do. The Cavs need more from Darius Garland. I hate bringing up guys' contracts. I want everyone to get paid as much as humanly possible. But there are certain expectations that come with the connotation of your contract. And Darius Garland, for better or worse, has the biggest contract in Cavaliers franchise history. He's considered a max player. And you are not getting max results from a guy who is getting paid like a max player. And in the playoffs, it comes down 9 out of 10 times, maybe 99 out of 100. It comes down to your best players making plays when it matters most. And throughout the course of this playoffs, Darius Garland has been too wildly inconsistent. And just when you think you can count on him because he's building confidence, he hits the shot in game 7, comes out in game 1, lays an egg. Has that great third quarter in game 2, doesn't come out early in game 3. It's just a wild roller coaster ride with Darius Garland. And frankly, for the Cavs to reach their full potential, they just need more from him. Caris Levert, coming off the bench, 29 minutes. He had 15 points, 6 of 12 from the floor, 1 of 3 from 3. I made a note at halftime. I think he had 0 points. I could be wrong at that. I could be wrong. He had 0 at the end of the first quarter. Excuse me. I think he had 2 at halftime. I'm trying to see if I can find and sort this while I'm talking live. I'm actually not even going to try getting myself bogged down on that. But you just need more from Caris Levert. You have three legitimate playmakers, creators. You can categorize them guard, forward, whatever. Three guys who you can put the ball in their hand and say, go make something happen on a consistent basis. On this Cavs roster, it's Donovan, it's Darius, and Caris. And Donovan stepped up tonight. DG and Caris didn't. And when you have one of your three creators showing up and the other two being MIA for the majority of the game, it's going to be really difficult to keep up with an offensive juggernaut like the Boston Celtics. Now, Boston tonight, and I'll get back to the Cavs in 1 second, they did what the Cavs did in game 2. Boston is a team that lives and dies with the three-pointer. In game 2, they were ice cold from three. Ice cold. So tonight, they made a conscious effort to attack, get to the paint, force the Cavs to defend them at the cup. And as good of a defensive player as Evan Mobley is at protecting the cup, making teams and players think about, can I go up with this layup? Is it going to get blocked? Just causing chaos around the rim. Boston was relentless in attacking. They had 84 field goal attempts. Only 36 came from beyond the arc. You look at the points in the paint numbers. They had 50 points in the paint tonight. They had 42 in game 2. The Cavs had 60 in game 2. They had 48 tonight. They were relentless in their attack, and Jayson Tatum in particular was the one leading the charge. He did not settle for threes, and when he's putting pressure on the defense by driving and forcing help, it opens up so many other things for the rest of their guys. That was the big adjustment that Boston made. That's the same adjustment the Cavs made following game 1 to game 2, but tonight they seem to revert back to their, I don't want to say philosophy, but their acceptance of just chucking threes. They were 12 of 36 from the floor, from beyond the arc tonight. It's 33%. It's not a great percentage. They scored 118 points in game 2 on 28 three-point attempts. So 28 three-point attempts in game 2, 118 points. 36 three-point attempts in game 3, 93 points. The Cavs generate good looks when they are attacking the rim. Al Horford is the Celtics big man right now. Kristaps Porzingis is a legitimate shot blocker. He's on the bench in street clothes. When Al Horford is their starting center, there's no true rim protector on the court for the Boston Celtics, which opens up the ability, I don't want to say to be reckless, but to attack aggressively and put pressure on Boston to stop you in the restricted area when you're 2 or 3 feet away from the cup, where you should, and I say should because it's easier said than done, but players of that caliber should be able to finish. And in game 2, Cleveland did a terrific job of attacking and putting pressure on Boston's defense to rotate, help, collapse. And when they did, they kick out, and that's why they shot such a high percentage from 3. They were 13 of 28, just under 50% from 3. They made one more 3 in game 2 on 12 less attempts than they did today. More threes today on 12, more threes in game 2 on 12 less attempts than in game 3. It's a correlation. You attack and you kick, and you get easier three-pointers, more open looks. Tonight, I thought the Cavs settled for too many three-pointers. Outside of Donovan Mitchell at one point, and I'm pulling up my notes here, at halftime, outside of Donovan Mitchell, the rest of the Cavs were 9 of 32 from 3. Outside of Donovan Mitchell at halftime, the Cavs were 2 of 15 from 3. Outside of Donovan Mitchell in this game, nobody. Mobley's on like right on the fringe of what you'd expect or what you'd hope for, but nobody really had the kind of game that they need to have for the Cleveland Cavaliers to beat the Boston Celtics. A lot of the good things they did. Let's look at the rebound battle, guys. The Cavs in this game, 35 rebounds. The Celtics, 44. The Cavs won the rebounding battle in game 2 by double digits. They lost by double digits today. And the guards played a huge role in rebounding in game 2. 20 rebounds combined between Mitchell, Garland, and Strus. Tonight, that number was down to 14, 6 fewer rebounds. Those 3 combined for the same amount of rebounds as Jayson Tatum. Tatum had 13. Those 3 combined had 14. So essentially that equals out. Jrue Holiday had his best game of the season, 18 points. He had 15 in the first half. He had 8 rebounds by himself. Jaylen Brown had 9 rebounds. He had 28. The Cavs were never able. It was a 9-point game at half, right? 9-point game at half. The Cavs were never able to get it past the deficit, past 9 points in the second half. And we said this before the series. We'll say it again. It hasn't happened yet. that if you put pressure on Boston, I'm talking legit pressure, Jayson Tatum, who played a very good game tonight, has some of the worst clutch offensive numbers in the entire NBA. Their head coach, Joe Mazzulla, who finished top 5 in NBA Coach of the Year voting, he's an unproven playoff coach. He's in the same boat as JB Bickerstaff, where a guy who's had regular season success to an extent, but never had the postseason success that you would hope for with the team and the roster that he's working with. And Jaylen Brown and Derek White, who's come back to earth after being the bald Steph Curry against Miami and in game 1 against the Cavaliers. Jrue Holiday to an extent. Like, these guys don't have necessarily that killer instinct that Spider Mitchell does. And if you get the game close, if you could have made that game from 9 to 5, from 9 to even 7, a 2 or 3 possession game, a legit 2 or 3 possession game, we may have seen Boston crack a tiny bit. And we've yet to see that in the playoffs. Their 1 loss to Miami was a blowout loss. Their loss to Cleveland, a blowout loss. Their 4 wins against against Miami, were neither close. Their 2 wins against the Cavs so far this series, neither was close. So we're still waiting to see if Boston can truly close out a playoff game, especially on the road, especially in front of a crowd tonight that was absolutely electric. So it was disappointing. It was disappointing to know the Cavs went into the halftime break down 9, and then Boston starts the second half on a 14-0 run. A Tatum and 1, a Derek White 3, 2 Jaylen Brown transition buckets, another White 3, a Jrue Holiday 3. Next thing you know, the score is 71-48. You can't come out of the halftime break and be on the wrong side of a 14-0 run. Like, JB, you got to call a timeout. Have something set up. I know they tried to run a few plays and they just missed shots. The Cavs actually, I thought, although they missed a ton of shots, I kind of liked the process. I thought they got some decent looks. Guys just weren't able to connect tonight. They made those shots in game 2. It looks great. They missed them in game 3, and it looks ugly. You scored 93 points. Another game, sub 100 in the JB Bickerstaff playoff era. It's not good enough. At the end of the day, it's not good enough. And it starts with guys like Darius and Caris and Isaac and everyone not named Donovan. Max Strus, Dean Wade, even though Dean Wade was a plus 12 tonight. Dean Wade was a plus 12 in 17 minutes. He had that first 3 and then a layup late. But a lot of the other guys just didn't contribute. One thing I do want to point out, one thing I did like, to end the third quarter and then to start the fourth quarter, JB Bickerstaff finally, and I say finally because Jayson and I have been joking about this for a couple of weeks now, he put a lineup on the court of Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Sam Merrill, Caris, Levert, and Evan Mobley. He went super small. I mean, that is no joke. You're playing 3 guys, 6'3" or under, and Caris is what, 6'4", 6'5"? And then you got Mobley 1 big, but that is a miniature 4-out, 1-in lineup. And although they never hit the shot to cut the lead from a 10 to 7 or whatever the score was, they never got it within that true danger zone. I like that lineup a lot. And I think JB Bickerstaff has to go back to that lineup in game 4 because the floor was so spread out. It was so spread out, and that's the Sam Merrill effect. Now, Merrill, if you look at his box score, did nothing. 0 for 1 in 11 minutes. He had zeros across the board, 0 3-point attempts, 0 free throws, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks, 0 turnovers, 0 fouls. He literally almost put up a club trillion. But just his sheer presence on the court spread everything out so far. And the Cavs from the get-go were attacking Al Horford on every switch. Boston, all season long, their defensive strategies were going to switch every screen. Now with Kristaps Porzingis, it's a lot more easy to do and a lot more effective than it is with Al Horford, who, bless his soul, is just at a later stage of his career where he really can't keep up with some of the quicker guards in the NBA. Donovan was cooking him early. Darius even was getting good looks. He wasn't converting those good looks, but was getting good looks whenever the Celtics switched any type of screen. And Al Horford was the guy guarding a smaller Cavaliers player on the perimeter. And that's a matchup the Cavs attacked in game 1, game 2, and tonight they were hunting that mismatch in game 3. When the Cavs went to that super small lineup with Sam Merrill, Al Horford looked like he had 7 heads and his head was spinning in circles trying to figure out what the hell was going on because he knew if he wasn't in the pick and roll action, he was the primary help guy. And although they weren't making shots, and once again, you have to make shots to win. The Cavs missed way too many good looks tonight to have any chance to beat a good team like Boston. But his closeouts were either Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, or Sam Merrill. Like, that's not his game. They had him in hell. They have to make shots to actually make that work to the capacity the Cavs need it to. But I liked what I saw from that little lineup. I think there's a chance that could be an effective couple-minute stretch lineup we see from JB Bickerstaff in Game 4 as well. At the end of the third quarter, Donovan had 30 points. The rest of the team had 39 combined. Boston made some tough shots at the end. When the Cavs got it close, Boston was making some tough shots to keep them at arm's length. Tatum had a couple crazy ones late. Jaylen Brown. And that's why the Celtics are so good. Like, they have the size. They have guys who are 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", who can create their own shots, as opposed to the Cavs, who have guys who are 6'1", 6'2", and 6'4". Like, that's the primary difference. But overall, it's a pretty disappointing result tonight. And I say that with the connotation and the notion that I picked the Celtics to win. I'm not surprised the Celtics won. I was just disappointed we didn't see more guys step up and play the way they did on the road in Game 2. But then they couldn't replicate it at home tonight in Game 3. And we talk about the home court advantage, and we talk about how role players in certain situations play better. The Cavs hadn't lost at home. They were 4-0 against Orlando at home. All 4 of their series wins were at home. I was hoping, and maybe this is blind hope, and the reality is the only thing the Cavs are consistent at is being inconsistent. So trying to predict back-to-back good games from this team may just be insanity, doing the same thing over and expecting a different result. So, yeah, maybe hand up my bad for thinking that the confidence that they built coming off Game 2 would translate to Game 3. But we saw Darius take a step back. We saw Levert take a giant step back. We saw Strus take a step back. They had, in Game 2, 6 players in double digits. Tonight, they had 2 starters with 6 points or less. 2 starters at 6 points or less. And Isaac Okoro had a terrible game. 1 for 7, 0 of 4 from 3. 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal. He was minus 17 in 18 minutes. And it's a really difficult decision for JB Bickerstaff with Okoro, because on the one hand, you kind of need his point of attack defense on the court. But if he's giving you nothing offensively, and I mean nothing, it was a giant nothing burger, 0 for 4. It wasn't like he was just not getting opportunities. He had some looks. He took 7 shots in 18 minutes. But if he's giving you nothing offensively, can you sacrifice playing 4-on-5 on offense for whatever addition and value he adds defensively? Do you go to Caris Levert, who had a better second half than a first half, but still was frankly disappointing, knowing what he can contribute on a nightly basis? You don't really have a backup point guard. Craig Porter Jr. is hurt. Ty Jerome's out. It's Levert, it's Mitchell, and DG. Those are your 3. 2 are going to be on the court at all times. So I saw someone tweet at me, Evan409 asked, like, what do you do with DG? Like, can you take him out? And I go, well, who are you going to put in? Who's your other option? Like, I do think DG, if there was a better alternative option at point guard, would be seeing his minutes cut. I just don't know right now who the hell you're going to put in that spot. Like, they don't have the body. You're going to put, what? Marcus Morris? Like, Donovan needs a break at some point. So if Levert's not playing well, if Darius isn't playing well, the Cavs are going to struggle to win and outscore the Boston Celtics in the series. I don't know. Like, I don't need to get super deep into, like, the X's and O's and some of the game plan stuff, when the truth is you just need your best players to play better. Donovan played an awesome game tonight. Evan was fine. He wasn't the issue tonight. But DG and Strus, like, hey, Max, the Cavs paid a lot of money to bring you to Cleveland. And you have a hell of a playoff reputation. But for every good thing you did in last year's postseason, helping the Miami Heat reach the NBA Finals, you're doing equal damage to your reputation this postseason by coming up short time in and time out. He hasn't played well enough. 2 of 6 from 3, 2 of 8 from the floor. I love the 5 rebounds. I do. He's a scrappy defender. Like, he does other things than just shoot. But if he's going 2 of 6 from 3 and Isaac Okoro's going 0 of 4 from 3, you're just not getting enough. There's not enough shot makers on the court. It's tough. It's tough. It's part personnel. It's part coaching. It's part players. It's a combination of all 3. And a loss like tonight just magnifies the gap between the best and the good teams. It doesn't mean the Cavs can't come back and win the series. They absolutely can. Donovan's been the best player on the court in each and every game this series. Even in game 1, I'd argue he was the best player on the court. In game 2, he certainly was. And tonight, I mean, you can make the case for Jayson Tatum, but I still think Donovan had a better individual game than Jayson Tatum. It comes down to the other guys. Just for example, let's take Tatum and Mitchell out of the equation for this. The other guys for the Celtics, Holiday 18, White 12, Jaylen Brown 28. The other guys for the Cavs, Mobley 17, Garland 15, Strus 6. Like, it's not that hard to figure out how the Cavs lost this game. Now, looking at game 4, I'll get to some comments in a sec to wrap up. I know it's late. It's 11:15 on a Saturday night. We'll let everyone go out and enjoy their Saturday night after. Hopefully, you guys can find a way to get your mind off the Cavs' loss. But looking at game 4, the positives for the Cavs, the things they can take that work tonight and continue to do in game 4. If Boston is going to continue to switch every screen, they've done it for 82 regular season games. They've done it now for 8 postseason games. We have a 90-game sample size. I don't think they're going to change that. You have to keep finding ways to put Al Horford in every action. I am not a proponent of running solely pick and roll basketball. However, in this particular instance, I'm actually pro pick and roll, put Al Horford in the action, make Boston switch, and give Donovan and Darius and Levert or whoever space to get downhill and make Al Horford try and stay in front of you. I think that's been their most successful, their most consistent, and their most fruitful offensive attack this entire series, and I want to see even more of it. Until Boston decides we're not going to switch and we're going to fight over, we're going to drop, we're going to help, we're going to do something as opposed to just flat out giving you the switch, I'm not going away from that. I want to see more and more and more of it with the hope of eventually, A, Boston decides to scrap that strategy and do something else. And then you figure out what that is and attack it. Or B, be so aggressive that you put them in foul trouble. You cause the defense, especially the guys in the corners, to come help. And then you have Strus and Isaac or Strus and Dean Wade, whoever it may be in the corner, and they have to make damn shots. If you can't make open shots in the playoffs, you're not going to win. That's 1. 2, I don't know how you do it. I'm speaking out my ass here. I'm not quite sure what the right way to go about doing this is. And maybe it's a lost cause. Like what I'm going to say, maybe the reality is there's no salvaging the situation here. But you got to find a way to get Darius going like we saw in the third quarter of game 2. And you have to have it early. And if that means Donovan force-feeding Darius and Evan Mobley in pick-and-roll situations, if that means the Cavs using Donovan as a decoy, coming off doubles on the backside to open up more space on the strong side for DG pick-and-roll, whatever they have to do, they have to get him going. And I said this on the show on Friday. I'll say it again. There is no player in the NBA who needs to see his first shot go through the cup than Darius Garland. It is all confidence with him. When he's playing with confidence, you see these spurts of the old all-star DG. When he's playing without confidence, he looks like a deer in headlights. He looks like a lost puppy. It's not good enough. And the Cavs have no chance to beat the Boston Celtics. Zero chance to beat the Boston Celtics if they're not getting a better performance from Darius Garland. I'm not going to point my finger at one specific person for a loss, but if we're cutting the blame pie into slices, Darius gets the biggest slice. And it's just because of the expectations that come with a player of his resume, his contract, and what we know he can provide. And when he doesn't live up to that, it's frustrating. And the Cavs need more. Caris, Strus, they all need more. From Boston's standpoint, I think they're going to keep attacking. They are so much better when they're in attacking mode, just like the Cavs are. And I hope in game 4, we see the Cavs go back to their game 2 strategy of get to the rim. 2 feet in the paint and good things happen. My coaches say that all the time in college. Good possessions start when you get 2 feet in the paint. You know the saying, the series doesn't start till the road team wins the game? Well, for the Cavs, the philosophy essentially should be our possession doesn't start till somebody has the ball in their hand with 2 feet in the paint, and then we'll start what we're doing. Force Boston into rotation. Time and time and time again. It's going to be tough. Boston's a good team. But the Cavs this season have found a way, especially in the postseason, to play their best basketball with their backs up against the wall. Game 5 against Orlando. Magic had all the momentum, had just won 2 games in a row. And what happens? A back-and-forth affair. Marcus Morris makes a couple big threes, and then Evan Mobley gets the block. Game 7, down 18. Or down 12. Win by 18. 30-point swing. They could have quit 100 times. Found a way to fight back. Game 2 in Boston. You go down 0-2 to Boston. Series is done. Find a way to erase what was an early deficit to end up winning by 24 points. The Cavs have found a way, to their credit, of playing their best basketball in the toughest of circumstances. And I hope we see that same trend continue in Game 4 on Monday night. Try to read a couple comments. We got over 600, so you guys know how it works. I'll do as many as I can, and I appreciate you guys for staying up, tuning in, and doing a little therapy session with me after what was a disappointing Cavs loss to the Boston Celtics. I will start with the one super chat. Batman says, Darius Garland, trade his ass. Not good enough from DG tonight. It wasn't. That's just the fact. You know, it's people get mad when we criticize players, but we only criticize the guys who have expectations. You know, Sam Merrill didn't score, whatever. We don't expect Sam Merrill to score. What we expect from guys with an all-star appearance on his resume 2 years ago is to play better. It is what it is. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we got. A lot of fire JB comments. Blue Tober season said get 45 some help. Yeah, Donovan was awesome tonight. He was phenomenal tonight. Outside of him, he needed more from everybody. Jared Allen, please come back. That's from Matt and Ramon. Jared Allen warmed up today. First time since the injury. So first time since Game 5, we have seen Jared Allen do anything with the basketball. I don't know if that means he's going to play in Game 4, but it is the first time that he actually had touched a basketball in front of us, at least. We don't know what he's doing in his own time and when media is not around, but it was the first time he touched a basketball. Stony Outdoors said, why did JB keep a core win for so damn long? I mean, he only played 18 minutes. So not sure if I would say that's too long, but he gave him a chance to see if he could make a shot. He didn't. And then he pulled him. And after that, it was Caris Levert show. All right, what else do we got here? Paul. I'll just say Paul. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Strus got money because of his production against the Celtics in Miami. In this series, we need him to wake up. You need everyone else not named Donovan Mitchell to wake up. Strus is one of the top guys on that list. It's him, it's DG, it's Levert. Those 3 guys in particular need to step up. Man, why is George Niang taking a strike? He didn't even play today. DeMario, come on. We already know it. Listen, he didn't play today. It is what it is. Dean Wade's in. I would assume that means no more Niang minutes. But it is what it is. Stephen Bennett says, sucks when they miss wide open shots like that. I do think, big picture, the Cavs all series have gotten some decent looks. Like the process of their offense has been pretty good. They just haven't made shots. And yes, you can say, well, Boston's probably giving them those shots because they're not good enough shooters. And that's probably fair to an extent. However, I do think they have done a pretty good job of generating good open looks in the areas they want to. They just haven't done a good enough job of making those shots. And just like in Game 2, Boston missed a ton of shots. The Cavs missed a ton of shots tonight. That's basketball. That's basketball. DJ Brobot says, this is the same JB we don't like. Never plans for the Celtics' best punch. Yeah, I didn't like how they started the second half. I didn't like how he let that run extend to the level it did. I know he thought that, hey, there's no way they could make it, they know it could extend it again. Cavs missed a couple shots there in that stretch, but Yeah, I didn't like how they handled that personally. I would have called a timeout earlier, but it is easy to play Monday morning head coach when you're sitting in the media section and not actually on the sideline. So that was tough. And once they went down 20 points, it was over. It was over. It was like they weren't coming back from 20. They never cut it back within 9. I think 9 was as close as it got again. So let's see. Blizzard says Sam Merrill isn't playoff ready. He has not played well in the postseason, but during the lineups when he was in tonight, especially that small lineup I was talking about earlier, the sheer fact that his presence on the court opens up everything else. There was so much driving lanes, and that's when Darius got going. That's when Levert got going, and it's when they were all attacking Al Horford. Because the floor is so spaced, it is Al Horford on an island against their 3 creators. And just by him being there and the Celtics' unwillingness to help off that, I like the lineup. Merrill's stat line was nearly a club trillion. Zeros across the board. I understand he had no actual impact by himself, but his sheer impact was made by the gravitational pull he has on the defense. And that opens up the driving lanes for DG and Donovan and Caris to fly by Al Horford. So I would give it another shot. Let's see. Soul Train says, I'm incredibly disappointed in Strus, Okoro, and Garland. And that's fair. I think that's fair. Let's see. Dennis Dawes. Mike, why don't the Cavs crash the offensive boards? They just take off when the shot goes up. It's 2-part. A, it depends on the lineups. The Cavs are more aggressive crashing the boards when they have bigger guys in, when it's the small lineup, for example, or if it's just Mobley and you have Strus, Okoro, and DG and Garland or whatever. You have to get back so it's not – you have to weigh the pros and cons. You get the offensive rebound, what are your chances? 10, 15% if the other team is 2 bigs. And then if you crash, that leads to open opportunities in the fast break for the other team. And Boston likes to get it and go. So I think in this series, when they're playing smaller, it is it's a dangerous preposition to try and crash the offensive glass with the players that they have. If you had bigger wings, I'm more for it. But I'm not quite sure like Darius and Sam Merrill are going to grab an offensive rebound. So instead of attempting having them fly in, I'd rather have those guys get back and stop a Celtics fast break. Let's see. It was good to see Dean Wade back. Creative, I wish I had sangria in this cup. Trust me. I wish. It's just water, unfortunately. Let's see. The chat goes crazy game to game. You guys go crazy. I appreciate you guys. Hey, give me a 1 if you like the lineup, the small lineup. Give me a 2 if you didn't like it. The Merrill, Levert, DG, Mitchell, Mobley lineup. Give me a 1 if you liked it, 2 if you didn't. I don't know. You can't take the individual lineup tracking data till the next morning, so I'm not quite sure what the plus minus was on that. But I'm curious to see how the Cavs actually fared in those minutes. It felt like they were getting a lot of looks they were trying to get, and they cut the lead down. I think it went from 14 to 9, and then went back up to 14, then to 10, then to 13, and back and forth. So I liked it. Let's see. John says, I wish Craig Porter would have been available. You and me both. If Craig Porter Jr. was available, am I crazy for thinking he'd play 15 minutes a game right now? Like, seriously? Like, am I crazy for thinking he could play 15 minutes a game? I really think he could. Like, DG's not giving you enough. I know he can't shoot, but I think he would. Let's see. I think I'm almost at the bottom here. Yeah, Max Strus hasn't been good enough. Max Strus has not been good enough. Jared Allen, I hope he comes back. They could use him very, very badly. But he hasn't played in 6 games. He touched a basketball today. Like, that's literally the only update we've gotten. I wish I had more info on you. I really wish I had more info. Let's see. Sean Ivers says the Cavs. Can the Cavs deploy a two big man lineup? I'm assuming that's what you mean, Sean. If you want to go with Marcus Morris, does that count? Like, there's no point in playing Tristan Thompson and Evan Mobley. Yeah, I mean, there's no point in playing Tristan Thompson. So if you're going to go with Marcus Morris, I guess, but I'm not. Dean Wade's your best bet. If you want to count Dean Wade as another big, then I think that is your best quote-unquote two big lineup without Mobley. But Marcus Morris, it's crazy. Morris had that one good game in Game 5 where he saved the Cavs. He really hasn't done much else the entire postseason. But you only need one. Like, that's why you bring in a buyout guy. Like, that's why you bring in a buyout guy. If he can win you one game, that's worth it. Sean also said Mobley looks scared of getting into foul trouble. Yeah, I noticed that too, to be honest with you. I didn't think he was hesitant in going to block shots tonight early, but he seemed to be more cautious of truly contesting like the high point on some of the attacks. And I'm not sure if that was JB telling him like, hey, look at the bench. Like, we can't really afford to have you in foul trouble. So I'm not sure. I did notice he was a little less, not aggressive. He was still playing good defense in the paint, but he just wasn't attacking the high point like he had. All right, I'm at the point where you guys were giving me 1s or 2 on the lineup. 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3 1s, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 0. I'm not sure if that 0 is good or bad. 2, 2, 1, 6. I don't know where you're getting 6 from. Who gave me a 6? Jonathan Schneider gave a 6. Jonas, sorry, not Jonathan. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Yeah, someone laughed at Jonas 6, not just me. 2, 1, 1. Amani Bates is a two-way player. He cannot play in the postseason, unfortunately, Creative Juice. Two-way contracts, cannot play in the postseason. What's up, Corey? The game sucked. I'm tired. It's bedtime. Yeah. All right, well, that's going to wrap it. Yeah, someone said 0 and someone said 6. So I guess that shows you it's somewhere in the middle. And we'll see if JB goes back to it. If they make shots, if Sam Merrill makes it 2 threes out of that, crowd would have went crazy. He didn't. Is what it is. But the reality is, if you're only going to get 15 points from Darius Garland and 15 points from Caris Levert, with the majority of those 15 coming in the final 15 minutes of the game, you've probably dug yourself too deep of a hole to get out of. Game 4 on Monday night, Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. The Cavs have played their best basketball with their backs up against the wall. We'll see if they can do it again. For now, though, I'll see you guys on Monday. Peace.